Going live, and you're live. What's up, everyone? Aaron Nagler here, Cheesehead TV, coming to you live from LiveX here in Midtown Manhattan. Don't leave your hunger on the sidelines, people. Tackle it the right way at Festival Foods, the grocery and tailgating headquarters of the Green Bay Packers. From their fan favorite festy burgers to the must-have game day wings and the legendary towering T-bone, Festival Foods has everything you need to make your next tailgating party a touchdown. Want more mouthwatering options? Explore all their game day worthy food at festfoods.com/tailgating. What's up, everybody? Oh no, you can't hear. You can't hear. Can you hear? No, wait. Testing 1 2. Tell me you can hear me. Tell me you can hear me, people. Oh gosh, what we got? What we got? Our screen is part of the pass rush. I don't know, but tell me you can hear me. Somebody's type in yes, I can hear you, or no, I can't hear you. I can hear, got it now. Oh my goodness, thanks. I was having all sorts of tech issues as you see this thing coming in and out of focus. It's it's madness here today, madness. But you know what? I'm gonna fight through it. I'm gonna play hurt. Equipment down. Analytics Twitter's mad at me. Doesn't matter. I'm here for you guys, devoted Green Bay Packers fans worldwide, including Jesse, who just super chatted. We can hear. Jesse, thank you so much. Very nice of you. How did the Pack defend DK? Well, they kept things, everything in front of them. Actually, I was just on the radio talking about this. They Patton had a similar game plan that he did against the Chiefs in the sense that they played a lot of two shell, and you heard Troy Aikman remarking how often the corners were playing off, way off. They're protecting against that deep shot that the Seahawks have made a living on pretty much through the second half of the season, taking deep nine and posts to DK Metcalf. Patton clearly did not want that to happen. And they pretty much allowed stuff to happen in front of them, but would not allow anything deep. And I thought that was a pretty smart way to go about it. The motherfucking Packers. Let's go. P.S. Yes, we hear you. Thanks, Real DK. Very nice of you. And thank you for the super chat. Um, when I see someone talking shit about the Packers on Twitter, I can only think of Stephen A. I got to tell something to y'all. We don't care. I thought of that exact clip this morning. This morning, I got to be honest. Carrying the G and cleaning my butt out here in Israel. Wow, that's some impressive carrying of the G there, my friend. Doug, thanks for the super chat. Is there any effective way at all to tie up Kittle? I mean, you're not going to. He's going to get his. There's no doubt about it. Um, I don't doubt for a second that they will play a bit of spin the wheel when it comes to types of coverages. Not even specifically towards Kittle, but um, I don't think there's any one combination that's going to work per se. He's going to get his. The, the most you can do is limit his effectiveness and or ability to hurt you. And there's only so much you can do in that regard. Obviously, everyone remembers the huge touchdown from the last game, which is essentially a mistake on the back end. The corner, which in this case was Jair Alexander, bit up too hard. It wasn't there for the replace on the back end. Kevin King was expecting help towards the middle. Clearly, didn't get any. Can't have breakdowns like that, especially on plays where they're designing deep shot plays. More than anything else, they have to be disciplined, have to communicate, and like I said, just try to limit the damage that Kittle does because he's going to do some. Will we be able to establish the run? That's a big key, Nick. I don't think it'll be easy going, especially early on, but they have to stick with it. They got way too pass happy in that last game, in a game where they were in it right until about the middle of the third quarter. But for whatever reason, they spread things out. They really tried to get after it in the passing game. I thought that was a big mistake. I think they have to not necessarily play more power or try to run it between the tackles, so to speak, but try and design and try and call more different types of runs as often as you can. That doesn't necessarily mean it has to be run, run, pass. Try and get some advantageous first down looks in the passing game. That's fine. Deep, shallow crossers, slant plays, whatever, just to give you a few yards. But stick with the run, even when you're banging your head against the wall. It is the one way you're going to get them out of that cloud that they like to play, that three deep look, four underneath. Until they can run them out of that, everything is going to be impossible. Everything is going to be way too hard trying to work things down the field. Maybe, you know, utilizing the short passing game will help in some respects as far as being a substitute for the running game. But last game, they tried way too hard to try and establish things downfield, and I did not understand that game plan at all. Jesse, thanks for the super chat. I think we need Vitale back to establish the run. They do and they don't. I mean, it would be nice, but actually going back and watching the game earlier today, um, he was not all that effective in the running game. I think he's a much more of a asset in the passing game, actually. And I think what we saw from Sternberger this past week can give you at least a little bit of hope as for another body they can utilize as an H-back slash fullback. And maybe he helps in the running game a little bit because I thought he held up surprisingly well at the point of attack in a lot of their run stuff without Vitale. Sly, thanks for the super chat. 14-3, fraudulent, overrated, bull fucking shit. I hear you, man. It's people are going to talk their junk. People are going to talk their stuff. After the game, I love the fact that 13-3 was trending because everyone was talking about the worst 13-3 team. But hey, man, I love it. Yo, Nags, go Pack, go. Josh, what's up? Must be able to block it up front. Yeah, well, that's a lot easier said than done. I don't think you're ever going to be able to be truly successful play in and play out, down in and down out against this 49ers front, especially in their building. But you can move the ball. They found ways last time. They just kept shooting themselves in the foot. They just got to get a little bit creative. How about bringing in a 6 lineman like Seattle did to help with that pass rush? Not sure that's the answer, but found what they did interesting. I agree. If for no other reason, it helps widen the rush lanes. Now that doesn't always work. Seattle tried that with a tight end on the side, and that's when Preston Smith got his sack that basically sealed the game on the defensive side. But I do agree that getting in another offensive lineman and widening those guys out, especially Bosa, should help if Rodgers is disciplined about getting the ball out of his hands, which is obviously a huge key. Luis, thanks for the super chat. Sup, Nags? It was by far the best game I've been to on Sunday. We're about to go get them at the 49ers. Go, Pack, go. I'm glad you were there. It looked like an absolute magical night. The whole vibe around the stadium looked amazing. The lights, the snow afterwards looked awesome. The waving of the towels. I mean, all the players talked about what a great environment it was. Matt LaFleur tipped his cap to the fans. And look, I said before, I'll say it again in light of what he just said. Lambeau is back, baby. There were a number of years things got listless. It was much more of a scene. You were there to be seen or hang rather than watch the game. Man, Lambeau was into the game this year in a way it hadn't been in a long time. It was great to see. Nick, thanks for the super chat. Did you see Brett Coleman's video on the Packers D? I have not yet. I saw it floating around, but I haven't looked at it yet. I'll take a look tonight. Jake, thanks for the super chat. Sternberger looked good, fullback waiting for the wheel route. That's what I kept thinking. Maybe they pull it out this week. That's a play that actually Shanahan loves. Is sending that fullback out looking like he's going to block and then send him upfield. The Packers have used that a couple of times this year with Vitale to great effect. I would love to see Sternberger utilized like that. Nobody was in their seats the entire game. I had a friend tell me, not Corey, because I have barely spoken to Banky since the game. He'll be back tomorrow, but I had a buddy who was there say that everybody stood pretty much the entire game, which is awesome to hear. Josh, thanks for the super chat. We forced Jimmy G to beat us. He threw a lot of 50-50s. I mean, he's going to throw you a couple. The Packers had their hands on a couple last time they couldn't pull down. That's definitely the MO. He is going to throw you a couple. He is going to put the ball in harm's way. You might be able to force him into a sack, fumble, etc. Got to capitalize because those opportunities will be there if the Packers can get to him. Sternberger showed Clowney some attitude. He did. I loved that when he got up after he had tried to tackle Sternberger by the helmet, basically. Not backing down, didn't care. Love that attitude. Jack, thanks for the super chat. Is it safe to say that defense matters? That's a great question. I would direct you to one PFF who put out a video that said, nope, it doesn't, even though we were proven wrong that it does. Hey, man, I don't know. Dustin, thanks for the super chat. Transplants this week. I carried the G to 2 noise complaints at my hotel. Well, I'm sorry for that. But yes, transplants will be back tomorrow afternoon at 5 p.m. There is I tweeted out the link. You can set your reminder here on the channel. We'll be here 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Lambeau. be there. Corey and I ready to talk some Packers winning a divisional round game and ready for the NFC Championship game. I cannot even believe that's a real sentence, but it is. Some screens and draws to try and slow down the 49ers pass rush a possibility. I do think draw plays are a good idea. Screens are tricky because they're so athletic up front. Traditionally, not always, but traditionally you like to use screens against heavy pressure teams. And obviously, the 49ers are not a team that sends numbers when they pressure. They'll utilize a look up front where they look like they're going to send a lot of guys and then drop people out, usually only sending 4 or less. Sometimes they'll send more than 4, some 5, maybe on the very rare occasion 6. And that's traditionally when you want to use the screen game. But if you're screening against this kind of team, that match zone cover 3 team, the problem is you invite those 4 up, right? And then you hit your screen, you've still got the 4 linebackers underneath or 4 the 2 backers, 2 corners, you've got the shell basically still sitting there. So it's not always the greatest idea, but again, if you can get him in the right look, get him maybe find a tendency on film where you can try and take advantage. It's not the world's worst idea to try and invite that pressure up and slip somebody out and upfield. Sean, thanks for the super chat. Not one person sat down at all, Lambo, on Sunday. That's awesome. Like I said, so awesome to hear. Joseph, thank you for the super chat. That's very kind of you. Next, 49ers look great, and I love their coach. We look great too, and I love our coach. I am confident and love the doubters. I see Rogers and Lewis and Smith getting our guys ready for this moment. Feel better. Thank you. Yes, I'm been fighting a cold, been fighting a cough. I'm so sorry. I know I've been fighting this cough. Oh, fuck, it feels like 3 weeks. But Joseph, thank you, and I agree with you. I love the doubters. I bring it because look, realistically, the Packers have to play a really good game. But this idea that it's going to be a blowout or the Packers have no chance, I take issue with that. The Packers aren't here by luck. They're not here by happenstance. They've won 14 games out of 17 that they've played. They're a good football team. The 49ers maybe have a bit better collection of talent. That tends to happen when you're drafting in the top 10 for years, but the Packers have a really good football team, and they can go into this stadium and beat the 49ers. There is zero doubt in my mind. They have to play a good game. They have to play their first complete game, essentially. We haven't seen one all year. Clean, complete, they got a shot. All right, thanks for the super chat. Will the Packers be traveling to Santa Clara earlier this time around to adjust to the time zone? I don't believe so. I think they kind of outsmarted themselves last time when they went on Friday. I think they'll go on Saturday again this time. I don't think it's so much a time zone issue as a focus issue, and I think they'll obviously, hopefully, be focused this time around. Oh, Preston, thanks for the super chat. What do you believe Tyler Irvin's ceiling is for this team? Also, who do you think is the most underlooked slash underappreciated player on this team? Whew, that's 2 really good questions. I do think Irvin's only started to tap his potential. One of the reasons, he got cut in Jacksonville and has kind of bounced around is because he hasn't been able to stay healthy. But you can see the potential there. He is absolutely dynamite with the ball in his hand. Um, I do believe he can become a bigger part of the offense. I don't know how much of that is going to happen this year, but I do like his potential to be a nice change of pace. Something that kind of keeps defenses honest on one hand, but also has the potential to break a big one. He came really close against the Seahawks, where he kind of they had him on that basically what's a mini end around. Got up the sideline, not the sideline, but he got up the left side, and he came really close to if he hits that, just makes that last safety miss, he's gone. But he slithered through 3 tackles. He's got explosiveness. He's got speed. Um, he can definitely help them, and I'm very interested to see how he's utilized. Because don't forget, he wasn't on the team last time these 2 teams played. I'm very interested to see how he affects their game plan against the 49ers. And as far as underlooked, underappreciated, I mean, it's so hard with you guys because you follow the team religiously like we do. So you know every guy, you know who's playing, what have you. But in the national consciousness, I would have said, a couple weeks ago, I probably would have said Elton Jenkins, but he's been getting so much love now, and obviously today was voted to the All Rookie team. It's probably hard to say that, but I probably would also say Chandon Sullivan, but I know the guys at Packers Wire just did a nice big write up of him. He's had an outstanding year. Hell, I'll even say Kevin King because Packers fans just love to hate on him, but I think he's playing outstanding football. and leading the team in interceptions. Although he did have one go through his hands on Sunday. He owes us for that. Devin, thanks for the super chat. Oh, it says redacted. What did retracted? Did you say something? Did you say something untoward? Tyler, thanks for the super chat. Cliff notes: Coleman said RD can't play man and is too predictable. / Shanahan put on a clinic on how to beat Pettin's scheme. Well, that's interesting because where was it the entire first half during the last game? I mean, I know Shanahan's had success against Pettin in the past. There's no secret there. But you're talking strictly this year? Quoi? Steal a possession or two, single elimination game. Let's go. Matt, I was just thinking of that watching the Falcons 49ers matchup from earlier this year, which the Falcons went into Levi and won the game, obviously. It certainly helped that Richard Sherman didn't play in that game because Julio went off. But they tried exactly that. They couldn't recover the onside kick, but that's the kind of thing that I agree with you. Try and steal a possession, whether it's a fake punt, an onside kick, although those are so hard to recover now. But do something that gives Aaron Rodgers and company an extra crack at putting some points on the board and shortening the game, essentially. I'm with you there. Packers are lowest percentage to win the Super Bowl. Travis, that's only going to make it sweeter when they win it. Let's go. Come on, buddy. Carry the G. Devin, thanks for the super chat. Expect the offense to do better than last game. Devin, it's hard for them to do much worse. But yes, I do. I think the emphasis is very different now. Like I mentioned before, Tyler Irvin wasn't even on the team last time they faced the 49ers. I think Lazard had yet to really come on, although who knows what's going on with his ankle. Um, I just think it's a very different football team. Now, obviously, they're different as well. They've changed, they've morphed, they've become very, they're a very, very good team, an excellent defense playing in their house. But yeah, I think the Packers will absolutely look worlds better than they looked the first time around. I don't think it's going to be easy. In fact, I think it's going to be pretty ugly, especially early on. But I have little doubt that the Packers will give them a much better game. Any giving fucking Sunday. You tell them, Corey. This game remind you of when we lost to the Cardinals in 2015, then bounced back, except this time we'll win. Also, more rollouts this week. I'm not so sure it reminds me of that, but I do very much expect more rollouts. Get Rodgers on the move. Don't let them know where he's going to be. That's essentially the biggest problem there. And they had some success with some of that. Obviously, everyone remembers the fake where Bosa is basically standing right next to Aaron Rodgers and doesn't even realize he's got the ball. They hit Jimmy Graham on one of those rollouts as well. But for the most part, yeah, anything to kind of cause doubt in their mind, put them on the move. Don't give them a stationary target where they can just pin their ears back down after down after down. Uncultured Barbarian, what's up? Thanks for the super chat. People still saying the Packers are fraudulent when they are in the NFC Championship game. It is to laugh. Is that a Looney Tunes quote? Because that sounds like a Looney Tunes quote. I love that. It's one of my favorite Daffy Ducks. Ho ho, very funny. Ha ha, it is to laugh. I love that episode. I'm a huge Looney Tunes guy, if you couldn't tell. The defense needs to feed on Jimmy G's soul. Josh, I'm sure that's the game plan. Guys, all right, here's his soul. I want you to feast on it. I mean, yes, please, please feast on his soul, like the succubus on a weary traveler. I'm carrying the fuck out of the G. Jeffrey, that's what I'm talking about. I was looking at some defensive plays, and Shannon Sullivan, Kevin King, and Jair have been great for us. Jay, I very much agree. Um, the one thing you worry about is the aggressiveness at the line being taken advantage of because that's something Shanahan can do a great job of scheming up. He did it in the last game, getting Kittle free on that touchdown. But for the most part, I very much agree. Doug, thanks for the super chat. It feels so good to be watching Green Bay football in January again. I've missed the hell out of this. Right? I had that exact thought this morning. This idea that there are 4 teams still playing. Everyone else is in draft mode. You know how long draft season lasts forever. I don't want to get there any sooner than I have to. So Packers, you're gonna have to go into the Super Bowl because I'm not ready to start draft stuff on Monday. I'm just not. I mean, we know there's not gonna be a coaching search. Did that last year. I don't want to talk about the draft yet. So they're gonna have to go to Miami. The Packers need to get a lead like they did against the Cowboys game and make them one dimensional. I agree, Calvin. That'd be great. Obviously, a big part of that was getting a turnover, which happened because Cooper couldn't hold on to the ball. But I'm all in on that idea. Get a lead, maybe even control the clock a little bit and make them play from behind. Because I think if you can get them out of that run game, it's a whole nother ball of wax with the Packers front getting after Jimmy G in an obvious passing situation. But that is a very tall order in that building against this team. No name. Thanks for the super chat. Will we play a 3-7-1 defense as speculated? I don't think strictly, but I think that will certainly be part of the formula in the sense that they like having those guys down on front where you can mix and match a number of different rushers, having almost all pass rushers up front. But I don't think it'll be any one thing. It's rarely that way in the NFL, but I do think they'll mix that in. There's no question about it. Are we still flowing under the radar? Hard to be under the radar when you're in the NFC Championship game. But they're certainly last in all the power rankings of the four teams. They've got the longest quote unquote odds to get to the Super Bowl, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you can still play that chip on your shoulder card because no one expects the Packers to win this game. So wouldn't it be fucking great if they do? Be so awesome. Next, can we expect a watch party for the game? Good question. I'm not quite sure what we're doing yet. I may be back at Barstool. We may be doing a watch party. I'm not quite sure. Corey may be going to the game. I don't know. So we'll know more tomorrow. We'll let you know on transplants what's going on because I'll talk to Corey in the morning. Real DK, thanks for the super chat. Is Pettin in any way playing for his job? You mean coaching for his job? Not the way the defense has turned around in the second half of the season. I don't think so. I'd be absolutely shocked. They've played very well on the defensive side in the second half of 2019. I know the Seahawks absolutely scared the bejesus out of you in the second half last week, but no, I don't think Pettin's coaching for his job at all. George, thanks for the super chat. More worried about stopping the run or stopping Kittle this weekend? Also, how do you think Devontae matches up against Sherman? Well, I mean, I think they'll move Devontae around a lot more. I'd like to see him utilized in the slot a lot more. The problem is it's not so much the matchups. Sure, yeah, he'll run into a Sherman a bunch, but that's not what concerns me. I do think Sherman's a good corner. I do think he doesn't play a whole lot of true one-on-one coverage out there. You see him open his hips a lot inward towards the middle of the field because he knows he's got that safety. And that's not to say he can't play man. I think he can. But it's going to be very rare when Devontae is given the opportunity one-on-one with Sherman or any corner just because of the type of defense they play. You've got to run them out of it. You've got to run them out of that cloud. And until they do, it's going to be really hard to work downfield. I'm going to say it all week. No name, thanks for the super chat. If the Packers win, do we activate Green for the Super Bowl? They could still activate him for this game. We'll see. I would love to see it. I do think he's had an awful long, a lot of time off, and I do wonder about not only his kind of conditioning, is he ready to play, but communication wise, rust factor, etc. Do you just throw him out there in the two biggest games of the year? I mean, I guess if if you trust him, you see him in practice, you know he's ready, but that's a big jump. Atomic, thanks for the super chat. Coward, you don't have to be great to be in the championship game. Packers fan, you have to be in the championship game before you can be great. Go Pack, go! I love it. I love it. I love how everybody with a platform that isn't associated with the Packers or cheers for the Packers is doing everything they can to dismiss the Packers right out of hand. No shot, no chance. I love it. Bring on the haters, bring on the doubters. The Packers are going there to win the game. Are they going to? The odds are long. The fight is tough. But can they? You better can believe they can. Why do people still listen/watch national sports media? Matt, I have no idea. I rally have no idea. When you have outlets like Cheesehead TV covering your team, you have a robust beat writing and podcasting and doing videos on your team every single day. Why on earth would you ever listen to Coward or anybody on ESPN, Fox, whatever? They don't know. They don't know anything. They don't know anything about your team at all. All they're good at is generating ratings, clicks, what have you. They're good at that. There's no argument there. But they don't know anything about the Green Bay Packers. Not a damn thing. So I mean, whatever kind of fan you want to be. If you're in for the drama and you're in for the clicks and the drama and the narratives, go. That's fine. That's great. Here, Cheesehead TV, The Beat, all those folks, the other blogs, the other podcasts, we know the Packers, and we'll tell you about the Packers. No name. Thanks for the super chat. Have forgotten Hackett was the OC 14-3. No, I haven't forgotten. I talked to him last time I was in town. He's going to be on my podcast at some point. We're going to talk Star Wars because he's a huge Star Wars fan. Kettle of Fish or Stout Grand Central, Christopher. Kettle of Fish is the only appropriate response. Sir. How much do coaching relationships matter? Pettin/Shanahan in Cleveland, not to mention all the LaFleur connections. I don't think they matter a whole lot. These guys know each other really well. They certainly have an idea of each other's tendencies, etc. But I don't think there's any great secret that's going to be revealed because of those relationships. It's more like I don't know if you've. I had a really good friend back at school who was actually good friends with Corey and he and I were ultra competitive when it came to Sega Dreamcast, NFL 2K. We played every single day. Probably played 2 or 3 games a day. When we get done with rehearsal, we come up. And there were lots of other people that I played with, that I play, tournaments with, et cetera, et cetera. But he was the one guy. I knew everything he was going to do. I knew his every tendency, blah, 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 blah. But the games were awesome. And I wanted to beat him worse than anybody. And I think that's most likely the one kind of outside circumstance that you could apply to Matt LaFleur and his relationships with everybody in San Francisco. I have zero doubt that he was humbled and maybe not embarrassed, but I don't know, maybe a little embarrassed by the shellacking they took on a national stage to his friends. Those are many of his friends on that other sideline. Got to think that stung quite a bit. So I don't doubt that he's going to say got to go 1-0 every week. It's just another game to get to the Super Bowl, etc. But there is certainly an added underlying tension of his wanting to beat those guys, not only just because of the last game, but because of the history, the relationships between them. I think that's only natural. Nicholas, thanks for the super chat. Have you seen improvement from Oren Burks? No, I have not, and I don't say that with glee. I don't say that to put the guy down, but no. I thought we saw more of the same. He played a bit on Sunday night, and I didn't think it was very impressive at all. And it's too bad because he used a pretty decent pick on the guy, but maybe third year's the charm. I don't know. I do think they're going to invest with a very significant pick at inside linebacker this offseason. I want Z to go medieval on Jimmy G's ass. Now, Josh, that's just not nice. It's all about the trenches this next game. For the most part, I agree. And it's not so much the you have to whip them up front physically thing, but you have to control it. Like they're gonna come after you. You're gonna get beat sometimes, etc. But you have to be able to control it with your game plan, with your flow, whether it's tempo, whether it's Rogers with the hard count, whatever you got to use to try and get just a little bit of an advantage. Because up front, say obvious passing situations, that's a absolute win for them, getting you in a 3rd and 9 or more, because that is what they're made to do, is pin their ears back, get after the quarterback. You've got to stay out of that. No name. Aaron Orenburks was on fire on special teams. Yeah, but that's not what the question was about. I understand. He's been a good special teams player. You know who else was great on special teams on Sunday night? Jake Kumaro. Jake Kumaro had a terrible game from scrimmage. I'm pretty sure. I'm just guessing, but I'm pretty sure the question wasn't about Oren Burke's improvement on special teams. Just a guess. I could be wrong. All right, everybody, I'm going to have to jump. Thank you so much for all the questions. Hey, don't leave your hunger on the sidelines. Tackle it the right way at Festival Foods, the grocery and tailgating headquarters of the Green Bay Packers. From their fan favorite Festy burgers to must-have game day wings and the legendary Towering T-Bone, Festival Foods has everything you need to make your next tailgating party a touchdown. Want more mouth-watering options? Because I know you do. Explore all of their game day worthy food at festfoods.com/tailgating. And hey, while you're here, hit subscribe, hit like on the video, tell your friends, tell your family. Cheesehead TV, we're devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Go Pack, go. See you tomorrow on Transplants, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Lambeau time. Good night.